Hello everyone, so welcome to EduTap and welcome to today's session. So first of all, I hope you are preparing well for the IFSCA Grade A 2025 Phase 2 examination that is on 15th November, okay? So I hope you are preparing well for the Phase 2 exam, and in the Phase 2 exam in the paper 2, there is the IFSC Act, GIFT City, GIFT IFSC, IFSCA, that is the component, that is the important component of your Phase 2 paper 2, okay? So today we will discuss that what is the strategy that you have to follow for these components, as well as what are the best sources for these components, and what are the important areas that you should not be missing out from these components for the Phase 2. So if you have any confusion regarding the IFSC Act, GIFT City and the GIFT IFSC, IFSCA coverage, so today I will cater to those confusion, as well as we will discuss the previous year questions from these components so that you have the clarity that what I am talking about, what are the best sources, strategy and the important areas with respect to the PYQs also, okay? So let's start with the discussion so that you have the clarity about these components and the coverage of these components from the Phase 2 paper 2 perspective. So let's get started, but before that there is a big announcement from EduTap that we have brought for you the big Diwali sale where you can save up to 81%, and this is valid from 19th October till 21st October 2025. That means this offer is valid only till tomorrow, and here you are getting flat 76% off for the regulatory body courses like the RBI Grade B, IFSCA Grade A, IRDI Grade A, NABARD Grade A and SEBI Grade A, as well as for the combo courses also you are getting flat 76% off on all the courses, let it be the test series, crash course, or even the gold and silver courses and such. So there is flat 76% off. You can use the code Diwali76. So this is the good offer that you can avail if you were already thinking about getting the courses. So this is the time for you to get the course, okay? So that you can practice with the lots of MCQs in the test series, and you can, if you want the coverage of the topics, you can get the crash course or you can get the gold and silver course with the flat 76% off that is going on, okay? So this is the idea, and this is valid only till tomorrow, that is 21st October 2025. Okay, so let's get started now with the topic at hand today. So first of all, in the Phase 2, in your IFSC Grade A examination, in the Phase 2, there is paper 2. In the paper 2, there is IFSC Act, GIFT City, GIFT IFSC, IFSCA, all of these components are directly mentioned, okay? So what is the requirement of the coverage? How much do you have to cover? From which sources, as well as what should be the strategy? So let's start with the discussion regarding that. But I hope you know that in the Phase 2, in the paper 2, these are the important areas that you have to cover, or these are the important components that you have to cover very thoroughly, okay? So starting with the IFSC Act first. So if you have a course, in the course itself, if you have the course provided by any of the institute, so in the course itself the IFSCA Act must be given in a very thorough manner. But let's say you do not have the course and you are doing the self preparation, then you can go to the IFSCA website. If you go to the IFSCA website, you can go to the About Us section. In the About Us section, there is the legal framework in which the act is directly written, okay? So click on this and you can see that there is the IFSCA Act that is provided. Download it and you have to read it very thoroughly, okay? The IFSCA Act is only of 17 pages, so do not miss anything. Read it very thoroughly, because we have seen that in 2023 as well as in 2024, in the Phase 2, in the paper 2, there were direct questions from the IFSCA Act. So you should not be missing out anything from the IFSCA Act. It is only of 17 pages. It is not very difficult, so you can cover it in a good manner, okay? And direct questions were there in 2023 and 2024 from the IFSCA Act. So it is very, very important, okay, from the 2025 examination perspective. And it is only of 17 pages, so cover it very thoroughly. Then what were the kind of questions that came? So questions were directly regarding that which of the following option is not classified as a financial product. In the IFSCA Act, directly the financial product, the financial services, their definition and their categories have been given, okay? So direct question was that which of the following option is not classified as a financial product. As well as in the IFSCA Act, it was mentioned that the IFSCA has got the powers transferred from such and such regulators. So the question was that which of the following regulator is not in the list of transferring the power to the IFSCA. So this is also a direct question from the IFSCA Act. Very easy question. If you have gone through the IFSCA Act, even the basic, even one time you have gone through the IFSCA Act, you must know about this, okay? Next was that what was the enactment year of the IFSCA Act. So in the initial page only, when the IFSCA Act is written, here the enactment year or the enactment date is also written, okay? So you should know about it. Okay? So this is the basic idea. If you are going through the IFSCA Act, you can answer these very basic questions, okay, that were there in the 2023 IFSCA phase 2 examination. As well as if you see the IFSCA Grade A phase 2 2024 examination, in the paper 2 there were direct question from the IFSCA Act again, what is the maximum number of members allowed in the IFSCA. So simple question was directly there. Okay, now this SGX Nifty, it is not present in the IFSCA Act. This was actually from the current affairs. So if you are reading about the IFSCA, you have to cover the current affairs because you are giving the IFSCA Grade A examination. So you must be reading the current affairs from the IFSCA perspective. At least 3 months of the current affairs you should be covering before the examination. Okay, so this is the question that you can see is not directly from your regulations or circulars, or let's say it is not directly from your act, but this is given in the current affairs. This was in the current affairs before the exam, and that's why it is important, and you have to cover the current affairs before the exam for at least 3 months and specifically focus on the IFSCA. Okay, now moving forward with the IFSCA regulations. So before moving forward with the IFSCA regulations, that how to cover it, what are the sources and what is the strategy, first let's see the PYQs, because the IFSCA regulations is not directly mentioned in your phase 2 components, but the IFSCA regulations, from this multiple questions came in 2023. Though there was no question in 2024 from the IFSCA regulations, but in 2023 there were multiple questions from the IFSCA regulations. Mainly the questions were basically from the banking regulations, as well as from the capital market intermediaries regulation. Okay, so from banking regulation there were lots of questions. From banking regulations there were lots of questions. Okay, as well as from the listing of securities also there was one question. So mainly you have to focus on the regulations that are recently released, because the banking regulation was released in 2023, just before the few months before the examination. So the IFSCA banking unit regulations were released in 2023. The consolidated regulation were released in 2023 for the banking segment. So you can understand that if the regulations are recently released before the exam, so these regulations become important. Okay, so this is the idea. As well as the listing of securities, this regulation was though released in 2021, it was amended in 2023, and it was also in news in 2023. Okay, so that's why a question came from this also. So what you understand from the previous year questions, that the regulations specifically that are released recently before the exam, they are important. Okay, so how you can cover the regulations, from where? So basically you have to go to the about us section, in which, like, you have the act, you also have the regulation segment. Just click on that regulation segment, you will see multiple regulations. Okay, so you have to cover, like you can see that there are 8 pages of regulations, but you only have to cover the most recent regulations that have been released in 2025, as well as certain regulations like the banking regulations you can cover, capital market intermediaries regulations you can cover, because it is directly related to your syllabus, like capital market, banking, bullion regulations also you can cover, because that is directly related to your syllabus. Okay, so these are certain regulations that you should be covering because of the linkage with the syllabus for the phase 2. As bullion market, capital market, banking, these are mentioned in your syllabus for the phase 2 paper 2. So that's why these regulations you should be covering, as well as the most recent regulations that are released in 2025 that you should be covering. Okay, so this is the basic idea. As well as remember that there are not many regulations that are released in 2025. So try to cover some of the regulations from 2024 also, if they are directly from your syllabus perspective, like the listing regulations, the listing of securities, that is somehow linked with the capital market. Okay, so 2024 and 2025, these regulations you can cover. There are not many regulations in 2024, 2025. Focus on these regulations like capital market intermediaries, bullion market, the banking regulations, as well as the listing regulations. So these are 4 most important regulations, especially the capital market and the banking and the bullion. These 3 are the most important, and the rest of the recent regulations also you can cover, because they are recently released just before the examination. Okay, now coming to the IFSCA circulars. So from circulars there have not been any question in the 2023 or 2024. Okay, but the idea is that the circulars, if they are released just before the exam, like let's say they are released 3 months before the exam, just 3 months before the exam. Okay, so these circulars you should be covering, because they inform you about the recent decisions and the steps that have been taken by the IFSCA. Okay, So basically, when you talk about the IFSCA regulations, you have to cover the regulations from 2025 from 2024 because there are lesser number of regulations, and from the regulations in 2023 there were multiple questions that have come. Specifically focus on these regulations, okay, and the regulations that are released in 2025. Now, when we talk about the IFSCA circulars, there are multiple circulars. You can see that 35 pages of circulars are there, okay. So, or these are the just the name of the circulars. In the circulars there are multiple pages, like 50 in one circular there might be 50, 100 pages also. So I will not suggest you to go through all the circulars because the time is not sufficient, as well as from circulars we have not seen the previous year question. So circulars, you can cover the circulars from last 3 months. So these are the most important circulars, so that you are aware about the recent decisions and the steps that have been taken by the IFSCA, so that if a current affairs based question is coming, or from a recent update the question is coming, you will be able to answer such kind of question, okay. So IFSCA circulars, though there is no previous year question from the IFSCA circular directly, even if there is a question that is from the current affairs perspective, so from the circulars I will suggest you that you can cover. If you want to cover, you can cover the circulars for past 3 months. There will not be many circulars in the past 3 months, okay. So you will be able to cover them in a faster manner. Now, coming to the GIFT City and GIFT IFSC. So we have discussed about the IFSC Act that you have to cover thoroughly in the holistic manner. Then we have discussed about the IFSCA regulations, where I have told you that banking regulation, capital market intermediary regulation, bullion regulation, as well as the listing regulations. These are some of the important regulations, as well as you should be covering the 2025 regulations and 2024 regulations also. 2025 regulations, try to cover them like in complete manner, but in 2024 regulations you can cover them only the most important ones, okay. And these regulations, remember that in 2023 there were questions from the regulations that were recently released, but in 2024 there was no question from the regulations, and regulations have not been mentioned directly in your syllabus. So be very selective when you are covering the regulations. That's why I've told you that in 2025 you can cover the regulations, but for 2024 specifically you can be very selective in the regulations, in covering the regulation, and do not go too much behind that, because again in 2024 there was no question from the IFSCA regulation. When we talk about the IFSCA circulars, just try to focus on the 3 months, the recent 3 months, because from the circulars there have not been any previous year question, but the circulars, they inform you about the recent decision and the recent step of the IFSCA. So 3 months of the circulars you can cover in a very brief manner, so that you have the brief idea about the recent steps taken by the IFSCA, okay. So this is the basic idea. Now coming to the GIFT City and GIFT IFSC. So I have provided you certain links. So let's see these links so that you get the idea that what are the areas that you should be covering, okay, and what are the sources. So these are the 3 sources that I have brought for you. So first of all, going to the first link. So here you can see that directly from the GIFT IFSC, like from the GIFT website directly the article is, and here you can see the incentives that is given in the GIFT IFSC, okay. So these are the incentives, and incentives are important. So permissible business, companies at GIFT City, setting up at GIFT City. So all of this you can read from this GIFT City website, okay, or GIFT website. Next, setup at GIFT City guidelines. So here you can go to GIFT IFSC brochure so that you can know more about the GIFT IFSC, okay. So go to this GIFT IFSC brochure, and here you can see 63 pages are given where about GIFT City. So you are able to study about the GIFT City business platforms, GIFT IFSC, incentives, tax and regulatory framework, IFSC business opportunities, fund regime in GIFT IFSC, global in-house centers in IFSC, fintech in IFSC. So all of these are the important areas that you should be covering. There are around 63 pages, but here you can understand that it is a compiled PDF which is being provided by the GIFT City website itself, by the GIFT website itself. So you can read and download this PDF so that you have the coverage of the GIFT City, GIFT IFSC and the IFSC, okay. So this is the idea. Next, the last link is from your IFSCA PYQs. So FAQs. So in the in the IFSC website, in the FAQ section, this FAQ is provided where you can know about the GIFT City, okay. So you can read these FAQs in which in the question answer format the information has been provided about the GIFT City. So these are the 3 links, or these are the 3 sources from where you can cover the GIFT City and GIFT IFSC. So basically from the GIFT website, from the GIFT website. You can know about the incentives, about the permissible business and such. And this is the PDF that is provided in the GIFT website. So this is a brochure PDF where 63 pages are given about the GIFT City, GIFT IFSC, and the detailed information is provided through these 63 pages. Though the number of pages seem more, but because images have also been provided, so that's why the number of pages are more, but the context, if you read it, it will not be very difficult. Okay, next is the FAQs. So in the IFSC website, the FAQs are provided, in which this FAQ has also been added. This is regarding your GIFT City. Okay, so these are 3 sources that you can focus on. Now, what were the kind of questions that have come from GIFT City, GIFT IFSC from IFSC? So in 2023, basically directly, as I've told you, incentive is important. That's why I've provided you the link for that also. So directly from the incentive, there was a question. Now this question was from current affairs, though it is from IFSC, like it is related to GIFT IFSC, but this is from the current affairs perspective. Okay, so that's why I've told you that do the current affairs for at least 3 months before the examination, and the circulars for 3 months before the examination at least. On what date did the IFSC assume the powers of the RBI, SEBI, IRDI, PFRDA for IFSC? So basically the dates are important, as it was shown when I was showing the IFSC Act also, that the date of the enactment, the date of establishment of IFSC, the date of getting the powers from the other regulators or transfer of the powers from the other regulators. So all these dates are important from the IFSC perspective. Okay. So now in 2024 from GIFT City, very basic questions were there. Directly the full form of GIFT City, very basic question. Another question was from the incentive. Okay, so the sources that I have provided to you, it is from the perspective that you need to have the basic and the overall coverage of the GIFT IFSC and the GIFT City. So these are the sources from where you can cover about the GIFT City, GIFT IFSC. Okay, so this is the basic idea about the GIFT City, GIFT IFSC, IFSC coverage. I hope you have understood the basic idea that how you have to cover it. Okay, in the IFSCA regulations, many of the students, they keep on asking me that, okay, should we cover the regulations of 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023? So remember that the IFSCA regulations, the most recent IFSCA regulations released in 2025. So these regulations are important, as well as you can focus on certain important regulations from the 2024. Okay, but do not go too much behind. Okay, because so many of the regulations you will not be able to remember, so much of the data you will not be able to remember. Even if you go to 2023, 2021, 2022 regulations, it will be unending for you. So you have to see the cost benefit analysis. Okay, bear the cost that will provide you the benefit. If you go back to 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, so there will be too much for you to study, and you will not have the time to revise. You will not have the time to cover the other components in a thorough manner that is required. Okay, so in 2024 there was no question from regulations, but in 2023 there were multiple questions from regulations. So cover the regulations that are near to the examination that were released in 2025, as well as certain important regulations that I have mentioned, and the important regulations from 2024. That's it. Okay, so this is the basic idea for you. Now before ending the session, let me show you that you can get flat 76% off if you use the code Diwali 76. Okay, now here let me show you that if you go to EduTap's website, you can go to edutap.in. You can go to edutap.in. By going to edutap.in, you can go to EduTap's website where you can see the courses. Okay, and here IFSCA Grade A courses you can see. Now you can just take the phase 2 recorded crash course. If you want to see the recorded live classes, if you want to get the summary sheet, if you want to get the summary notes, if you want to get the current affairs magazine, solve previous questions are also provided here. So the mock tests are also provided here. So if you want to get the help for your preparation of your phase 2, paper 1 and paper 2, so you can get this recorded crash course. Let's say you already have covered the syllabus, or you have good knowledge about the syllabus and the sources, and you are able to prepare by yourself in a good manner, so that is good. Now if you want the help in MCQs, that means you want to solve number of MCQs and you do not know that from where you can solve the number of MCQs, so you can get the phase 2 test series where the chapter wise test as well as full length test are provided to you, so that you can solve multiple MCQs from the examination point of view, as the paper 2 phase 2 paper 2 is completely MCQ based, so you have to solve a lot of MCQs. Okay, for that the test series is provided to you for IFSCA Grade A 2025 phase 2 test series. Okay, and as I've told you that there is Diwali offer that is going on, and here you can see that there is flat 76% off. You can use the code Diwali 76. Okay, so this is the idea. So you can use the code Diwali 76 to get this offer of flat 76% off, and all of these courses as well as on the combo courses also there is flat 76% off that is going on. So this is it for today. Thank you everyone, thank you for joining, and if you have any confusion you can write down in the comment section below. So thank you everyone, thank you for joining.